Have you ever wondered why there are so many poor people in the world, yet there's people out there who have billions of dollars? Like there's someone who has over $200 billion. Is it luck? Is it family inheritance? Like why exactly are these people so rich yet almost every country there's a whole lot more of poor people than the rich, In my country, at least 56% of the people are very poor, and 45% of them are like normal, and the other ones are like a little bit rich. I came across this interesting theory recently called the fixed mindset. Basically, the fixed mindset is this concept that people who have this kind of thinking, they believe that things are fixed. They can't change the situation because that's just how it is. I can't be smart because I wasn't born smart. Yet, if you compare it to the growth mindset says, I'm not good at it. Therefore, I need to work harder to be, as good as some of these people who have achieved so and so or X and X in this field. So basically, why exactly does this mindset really matter in terms of it explaining the percentages of why we have so many poor people out there? I grew up in one of the most fortunate neighborhoods, and the reason why when I read this concept about the fixed mindset and I found it so intriguing is because I noticed that becoming rich comes down to the mindset that you have. It's not about the resources that you have. Now, of course, if excuse me. Now, of course, if you grow up in a fortunate environment, your parents are rich or whatever, that is an advantage. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up in the worst, neighborhoods, poor or whatever, it doesn't mean that you will not become successful. This is where I find it interesting. The problem with growing up poor is that from the get go, you're given a mindset that sets you out on a path of failure, because the thing is that if my ancestors didn't achieve anything, they lived by certain principles. They hand down those principles to the next generation, and the next generation does the same thing. And if you have a lineage of people just failing and passing down their, knowledge to the next generation and so forth, this is one of the reasons why we have things like generational curse. No, it's not a generational case. It's just a generational unfortunate passing down of knowledge or whatever, because it has a lot to do with knowledge and nothing to do with curses and stuff. Now, the reason why it's so hard for generations, or why perhaps it's called a generational curse, is because it takes a lot for someone to grow up in such an environment and actually develop a different mindset from everyone around them. Because trust me, there's no such thing as a new idea. There's no such thing as not being able, not being a product of your environment. Believe it or not, whether in a negative or positive way, however our mindsets are, they are shaped and molded by our environment. If you become a better person and hate alcohol simply because a lot of the people around you drank a lot, it's not that you're different from them, but you were uh, affected by the environment, you know, to think in this way, to say, nah, this is bad. And if you drink because of the people, it's also the same thing. Either way, we're always affected by the environment that we grow up in. This is the reason why a lot of people I think are poor. It has everything to do with the mindset. And I am not a fan of capitalism at all. I think that there should be an equal distribution of wealth. But the thing that I do not support is trying to crucify people for having a certain amount of money, because believe it or not, no matter how much money you have, whether it's $2, $10, $100 billion, you worked for it. And the problem that people do not understand is that, unfortunately, the people who understand the science of making money, that it just comes to the mindset of, realizing that you do not need to create any complex solution to a problem. You just need to create a solution to a problem that is required by a lot of people. Wealth is just the privilege or ability to be able to save a lot of people, because if you have a product that's selling for $1, if you sell it to 10 people, that's $10. If you sell it to 5 people, this is how it increases. So if you have a product that sells for $10, $20 or whatever, and you have millions of people, of course you're going to be rich. I just think that the problem that we have in society isn't with the distribution of wealth. The problem that we have is the distribution of knowledge. This is where the whole problem stems from, because the thing that I realized is no matter how rich you are or how you became rich, it all goes down to you actually having to work hard at some point and having to figure it out. I don't believe that there's people who have it easy. I just think that it takes a special individual to be able to get rich. Being rich is like, it has everything to do with the mindset that you have, but just being able to develop mindset that is required for you to reach your goals, the goals that you think are going to make you rich. That is where the challenge is, because once you figure out what you want, who you are, and your vision, you realize that you can literally become a millionaire in any field. When I graduated from high school, one of my fears was getting into a field that I thought would not be marketable. I wanted to do mass communication. They were like, no, it's not marketable. I wanted to do this. No, it's not marketable. Now that I look back right now, I can confidently say that if I want to get into any field, I can literally become anything I want. I can achieve any amount of success I want, because it just comes to me being passionate for it, having a goal in terms of how different I want to be from everyone and why I want to be the person that will be, the most successful in this field. It's that simple, but it's hard in the sense that it is you against you, not anyone else out there. If you earn a lot of money, you had to work hard for you to become the valuable person that you are. If you earn less money, then believe it or not, but the problem is that you just do not have the right value for people to pay you what is considered to be a lot or whatever. So what am I trying to say exactly? The reason why there are a lot of poor people in the world is that we just don't give out the information that is necessary to, make people successful or rich. Of course, there's always going to be poor people no matter how knowledge is well distributed. But I think that we can actually change, like if we change the education system to include more practical information. I think this is the reason why this kind of information is not put into schools or whatever. Here's the thing. The thing about life is, I think I read a quote that says, being a man means having to learn everything from scratch, whether it's grooming your hair, whether it's brushing your teeth, your face, your confidence, the way you talk. Nothing is naturally handed down to you. Now, of course, there are people who are naturally good at this, and it's always maybe perhaps they grew up in the environment that made them feel confident about themselves and they grew up like that. And there are people who never had that and now suddenly they have all these issues. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, no matter what you try to get into, you have to learn, you have to suffer, you have to take risks, you have to succeed. I just don't believe in the work-life balance at this point, because there's nothing to balance. If you're trying to balance having a good social life and trying to become rich and trying to be an expert at something, that just doesn't work, honestly. So I still do not understand why there are a lot of poor people in the world, but to me, I just think it has a lot to do with knowledge. I think the knowledge that is required to actually make the world a much better place in terms of people having access to the kind of life they want is it just comes down to the knowledge that is given out to, society, the education system. And I really hate to say that I only go to find out all this information about being rich, about how to become successful, not until I left Africa. Like, I went to university in Europe, and I just was in this environment that felt like it was liberating, like it was liberating to just think of anything. And I suddenly just felt like I could do whatever I wanted because I had these people around me, that they, I told my friend I want to start YouTube, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, like you're so good at it, like if he wants to do something like related to this YouTube stuff, I would like tell him something and he tries it out and it's like, yeah, that's actually so good." Like people support you, but even right now, if I told my parents or anyone from home that I want to pursue YouTube, they wouldn't support that idea, and that's just one of the reasons why, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people are poor, because we just do not support or foster the mentality of thinking that you want to do something and you can go after it. Believe me, if you are passionate about something, no matter how stupid it is, if you have the right people around you and they support you, you can literally become the most successful person in that thing, no matter how niche it is. So what exactly am I trying to say? All I'm trying to say right now is, I think if you're someone who is trying to become rich, or you're someone who just can't seem to figure out what exactly you need to do in terms of you just attaining your goals, start reflecting more on the kind of person that you are and what kind of value you want to have in the long run. Let's say, 2 months from now, 5 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. Everything you want is possible to attain, and I am a firm believer of that. And if you go on my channel and watch some of these videos, I talk about how I moved from point A to point B without having no means at all, or even having any hope of being this kind of person. But yeah, so basically, you just need to focus more on investing in the person that you are, investing in yourself, and just making sure that you prioritize becoming more knowledgeable, learning more about, you, so to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and please, if you would like to subscribe, that would mean so much to me. Baka.